The Sims 4 is not inherently a hard game, but I do think some packs are harder than others, so I'm going to be rating them from extreme mode, the hardest of all, very hard, a sensation I experience in the presence of a hot man, intermediate, easy, and super easy. Anyway, starting off with the base game. The Sims 4 base game is probably the easiest Sims base game out of the Sims 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is very straightforward. I don't really know what else to say. The next, okay, the Happy Holiday pack, it just comes with like Christmas trees. I couldn't say that's very difficult. So the next one is Outdoor Retreat. Outdoor Retreat is the first game pack for the Sims 4, and it doesn't really come with that much stuff. There's no skill tree system, there's no challenge system, it's just random interactions like stargazing or collecting bugs. Even then, the bug collection system is not really that hard. The herbalism skill, which is like making herbal potions and things, it's not really that hard. It's not that deep. It's easy to find all the things you need to make them, especially seeing that a lot of, for example, the bug catching thing, it's not seasonal or anything, and I would just say it is super easy. Next up, we've got Spa Day. Spa Day never really was that hard, but when they did the big pack update refresh for it and they introduced a lot of new features, it did come with more career options. The great thing about those career options, for example, you can be a yoga instructor, you can be like a nail technician, you can be a masseuse or whatever, you can make it a proper career. And although I will say it is more of a challenge with the pack to actually have a proper career and try and make money with it, again, it's not really an in-depth career choice. So from that perspective, again, it is very easy, but not like super easy, just easy. So the next game pack is Dine Out. This one is like extremely difficult for the wrong reasons, and that's because it's such a glitchy, buggy pack and it barely ever works. So actually, like, owning and running a restaurant in general is not the hardest thing in the world, but it can get very, very hard depending on what kind of restaurant you want and trying to build up to a 5-star restaurant. I'm not gonna lie, I've never played this and actually made a 5-star restaurant before because it does take a long time and it is something that you have to work towards. It also comes with some random things, like it comes with a food collection system, it comes with like a food critique system, which is sometimes difficult. Although the issue I have with the pack is it's not difficult in the sense that the only thing that you really do in terms of managing the restaurant is just talking to guests, because you can't be the chef, you can't be the waiter. The only thing you can really do is just like talk to guests, which does get a little bit repetitive after a while, and it's not really the most difficult thing in the world. But I do acknowledge, like, trying to manage the restaurant itself can be very difficult if you want to get to that 5-star status. So I'm going to pop it in very hard. Vampires. Now, do you know, again, this is a very, very hard pack, and that is because the vampire skill tree system is actually really in-depth and fun. It's not just like when you become a vampire you unlock all of the abilities, like you actually have to work towards them, and for that I do actually agree that it is a fun pack in that respect. In fact, all of the occults, werewolves too, round with magic spellcasters, they are all very hard because the skill tree system. And do you know what, technically celebrities are an occult. They work in the exact same way as occults, so I am popping them there too, because celebrities along with the occults have this skill tree system, and the great thing about it is every single occult has their own individual weaknesses and strengths, which means they're all personalized, which means you all have to utilize them differently, which I think is really, really fun that we haven't really had with occults in any Sims game before, and I think it's quite in depth, and you do have to think when you're playing it in order to reach the maximum occult levels. The next one is Parenthood. So how difficult is it to raise a good child? Not really that difficult. In some respects it's kind of difficult because there are some things that are out of your control, and sometimes raising a child is very frustrating, but the game is very simple in terms of like, praise a good behavior, they raise up well, scold a bad behavior and they raise up well. Like, it is very simplistic, to be honest, so that one is just easy. Jungle Adventure. See, the great thing about this one is that in order to like visit and explore the dungeons, you can't just walk in there, you actually have to prepare yourself, because if you just walk in there you might get attacked by tarantulas, get poisoned and like die. So can you die from it? I'm not sure if you can, but you can get poisoned. You also have to worry about like gathering resources. You also have to confer with the locals in order to unlock secrets, but in order to confer with them you first have to learn their language. You also have the jungle excavation skills, and you have to learn different skills when you're exploring tombs to be able to unlock certain things, otherwise you can't access it. So from that perspective I will say it's a very interesting pack, although I wouldn't say it's like that hard, so it's just intermediate. It's more so tedious. Strangerville, again, See, I feel really sad because the whole point of this pack is to make the game more difficult, but it is like easy because all you really do is just like fulfill certain quests which don't really have that much depth. It's more so monotonous rather than hard, so it's difficult but not in like a hard way. It's difficult in just like a monotonous long way. The next one is Journey to Batuu. This one is actually super easy, and unfortunately the gameplay mechanics are very easy to exploit, and although it is hard, it's not hard in a fun way. Again, it's hard in like a glitchy, broken way, which is not really what the point of this tier list was. So it will go in very easy just because it lacks a lot of depth. Again, Dream Home Decorated, this is a pack that lacks a lot of depth. It's an extremely popular pack, one of the most popular packs for The Sims 4, but the pack is so easy to exploit. Like, the whole point of the pack is doing interior design, and you go to a client's house and they say, I like the color red, and you basically just give them red everything, red walls, red flooring, red sofa, and boom, they love the house. They're really happy with it. It's so incredibly easy and ridiculously easy to exploit, and it should have been implemented in a way that's more challenging, but it wasn't, unfortunately. So I will make it super easy, which I know is very controversial because a lot of people love the pack, but I genuinely just think it's a good idea, just a bad implementation. The next one is My Wedding Stories. Again, this is just like super easy. There's literally nothing difficult about this pack. I mean, it is difficult again from a glitchy perspective. I have never played this pack and have it work before, ever. It is that buggy, but it's not really difficult planning a wedding. Like, planning a wedding inherently should be a difficult and stressful event, but they didn't really make an effort to make it challenging in the game. There's no difficulty really in terms of asking somebody to be your best man or your bridesmaid or anything. There's no difficulty in terms of like finding a wedding venue and trying to save money, because weddings in real life are expensive, but in The Sims 4 they're not really. And the actual events, for example, the rehearsal dinner or the stag do hen do event, again, they're not really that difficult and they're very easy to pull off. Again, it's just like Dream Home Decorator. It's an alright idea, it's just implemented terribly. So with the expansion packs, the first ever expansion pack was Get to Work. Now I'm actually going to pop this one in very hard. I really like this pack. I think the career system of that live active careers is really, really fun as a doctor, scientist or detective. The fact that your job performance depends on how well you actually do as a player, because you're actually the one in control. That's why I like it. That's why I will say it's very hard, especially the scientist career. I'd actually say it's quite hard. I also love the retail system. Granted, it's not as in-depth, unfortunately, as for example the Sims 2 retail pack, but the retail system is very fun and can pose a very unique challenge, and it is actually very hard to get rich from it. You wouldn't think it is, but it actually is quite hard. Although it's nice with the perks of owning and running your own business, that gradually over time you have to work towards all these progression goals. So in that respect, I will say it's hard in a good way. It's a great challenge. Get Together, I would say, is super easy. It doesn't really come with anything relating to challenging or skill levels. There's nothing really to unlock. It's just a pack about making friends, which is not hard in The Sims 4. Same with City Living. It's a pack about having fun, which is not hard. Same with Island Living. It comes with a couple of cool careers, but they're not really that hard. Seasons doesn't come with anything hard. It's just weather. Cottage Living, again, Cottage Living is easy. It comes with a cool like side quest system where there's a guy who you can meet and you can do certain things for him, like collect certain things. The only thing is there's no reason to really do that side questy mechanic because the rewards for it are not really enough to substantiate actually bothering to do it. And a lot of the things it asks you to do is just fetch quests, like boring side quests. So in that respect, it's very easy, but at least it's a little bit better than the others. Cats and dogs, although the actual being able to like run and look after a pet is not hard, it does come with a veterinary career, which is very similar to the active careers and Get to Work, and I actually think it's a really, really fun, cool career, just as the ones in Get to Work, for the exact same reasons. So that's why I'd say it's very hard. Discover University, are you ready for our first extreme mode pack? This pack is ridiculous. I personally find I can't enjoy this pack because it's like too hard, and I love a challenge. The Sims 4 lack challenges, but this is too challenging for me. It's challenging from so many perspectives. So firstly, actually going to classes is very tough. Like, you know, you have your coursework, which you've got to basically do every day. On top of that, you have presentations you got to prepare for, exams you got to prepare for. And that's only just for like one class, because you can take multiple classes, like up to 4 each semester, basically. I personally find even just with one, it's too much. And remember, on top of that, we also have clubs, like you have sports clubs. You also have like societies that your Sims can go to. There are also like house parties in the pack to make your Sims enjoy. There's so many different aspects of this pack, yet it's so difficult to enjoy all all of them at the same time, even if you do literally just take one class per semester and have your Sims having like literally 100 semesters just to complete one degree, it's still very, very, very overwhelming. Also, just random things like this pack comes with the servo robot, but in order to craft the servo robot, you need to craft like other things, and it's very, very hard in a long and tedious way, which is very annoying. Even just like upgrading your servo robot to be like a super robot with tons of upgrades takes so long, it's ridiculous. Yeah, this pack is like unnecessarily hard. I feel like it's too much. Eco lifestyle, I'd say this one is intermediate because you got to understand how the actual system works of pollution. This game, by the way, comes with a pollution system where if you don't look after the environment, it becomes really gross and smoggy, but if you do look after it, it becomes nice and pretty. Unfortunately, the system isn't explained very well, and half the time you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really know how to make the environment better. Also, in a weird way, it's very hard to make the environment bad. See, the reason why it's intermediate is because it's very easy to make, you know, your world look very pretty and make the environment better, but it's very hard to make the environment worse. As a sadistic person who likes that funny, more evil side of gameplay, that's why I find the pack a little bit frustrating. So for that reason alone, it is intermediate. Snowy Escape, there's literally nothing difficult about this pack. It's just like going skiing. That's basically what it is. High school years, ironically, makes going to school easier. And from that perspective, it is super easy. It comes with absolutely no challenges that you should face as a teen. It doesn't make school any harder. It doesn't create the option to elect your own different school modules, go to different classes. It's very easy to exploit the high school prom system and ask anybody to prom. It's just not a very rounded pack, unfortunately. One of the worst expansions. So now we have stuff packs which don't really come with that much gameplay. Technically on paper, almost all of them are super easy, but we do have a special exception to that, which is Paranormal Stuff, which I'd say is actually... it's intermediate. I really love the paranormal investigator career in this pack, and before you can actually start the career, you actually first have to learn the medium skill, which makes sense because in The Sims 4, your Sims can join like any career track without any previous qualifications, whereas in this pack, you actually have to basically learn how to be a psychic medium before you can do the paranormal investigator career, which makes so much sense. So from that perspective, I do really like it. I also think the ghost hunter career is a little bit of fun as well. It is tough. It's not like groundbreakingly extremely difficult, but you do have to concentrate on it, which I like. And another weird one I would say is Laundry Day Stuff, which is our second pack going in extreme mode. How can a pack about laundry go into extreme mode? Well, I will tell you, when you use this pack, I kid you not, you will be spending 80% of your time worrying about washing and drying clothes. You will honestly not just be like playing as it, but like worrying about it, stressing about it. It is so stressful, and when you put clothes in the washing machine, you forget about them, and then they get moldy, and then you have to wash them again, and then you have to put them on the washing line, but then you forget they've been on the washing line too long, and if you have the seasons pack installed, it'll start raining, and then you have to wash them and dry them again because they get damp and soggy, and then if you don't wash it and dry it, you get clothes piling up everywhere, and your Sims get stinky, and the house gets stinky. It's honestly a nightmare. I don't know why Simmers love this pack so much. I think it's the most psychopathic, insidious pack, and that is because it's so tough and it takes up so much of your time just for a small gameplay feature. And another one to add to that is Bust the Dust, our first and only kit, I believe, going into this category for the exact same reason. This house is about vacuuming, but honestly, your house gets dirty so quickly. The pack is extremely glitchy and broken. Everything gets dirty. The gameplay is extremely overpowered. It's just absolutely insane for the exact same reason. Another special exception is Nifty Knitting. I would actually say this is very hard. This stuff pack follows you through knitting, and you can make money through knitting in a kind of similar way to like selling things on Etsy, but to make money from it is actually very difficult. And to go through the system of making things can actually also be very difficult too, but it is also very rewarding. Other than that though, the rest of the stuff packs are very easy because the gameplay just doesn't present any challenge. In addition, the other kits only come with build, buy assets and create a sim assets, so they are literally not difficult in the slightest, apart from Bust the Dust, because yes, that one is traumatizing. So as you can tell, The Sims 4 is mostly a very easy game. What do you think of my list? Let me know down below. Recently, interestingly, I actually ranked every Sims 4 pack about how glitchy they are, which was a load of fun, so make sure you watch that video if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next one.